Very good morning to you. Happy Hump Day. It is the 11th day of February 2026, International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Habari zenu?
Yes. Karibu sana to Morning Cafe. We're still counting down. Umesema ni Girls and Women's Day.
Yes.
Hii wiki.
Leo.
Why is everything about women?
Because it's Valentine's.
Well, 3 days to Valentine's Day. Either way, we'll be discussing that tujue kwa nini kila kitu ni wanawake, kina mama, wasichana, warembo. Kwani wale wengine walienda wapi?
Hakuna kama amfanyiwi change your partner.
All right, this is the Morning Cafe. My name is Freddy Ndimuli. We are here to wake you up the best way we know how. How hot is a coffee where you are?
My name is Ann Odida, of course. Tell us where you are, what you are doing, what's happening in your area. We'll be sure, of course, to read your feedback. Follow social media, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, TV47 Digital on X. My handle is at Ann_Odida.
Mine is at Freddy Ndimuli. Remember to use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. Speaking about Valentine's, there's a big question that we're asking this morning.
Absolutely.
Why the obsession with women? Is it fair for the man, and I'm repeating, is it fair for the man to carry the Valentine's spending burden, or should couples share the cost? Is it fair? Ni haki. Ni haki kweli?
It is.
Unyanyasaji wa haki za kibinadamu.
Is it fair for the man to carry the Valentine's spending burden, or should couples share the cost?
This is the most direct question we've ever asked.
Yes.
It's very easy. Jibu ni no. It is not fair.
Wacha tusikie watu wanasema nini. I'm not with you. Valentine's is okay. Gladstone Obama, Valentine's is a time to spread and share love. It's not a time to just give one side.
Exactly.
It's a shared It's a shared responsibility.
Yes.
Men can take the lead, but women should do like 35 to 40% to make the day a success.
Even 55%.
Which includes gifting their men or buying them a meal. Gladstone, wewe.
Francis Okanga says Valentine's shouldn't be a male-funded project. I understand these men. Yes, love is partnership, not sponsorship. Leo watu ile wisdom. Romance isn't proven by who spends more, but by mutual effort, intention, and appreciation. Fair relationships, normal. Watu wameenda shule bwana, wameenda shule.
Drop out wa kindergarten. Anatuambia the one who initiates the idea should pay the cost. We're talking about Valentine's Day.
And who always initiates the idea?
Kuna Valentine's Day is just there.
Babe, tunaenda wapi this time?
Kwani unaulizwa? No, nowadays we don't ask, we leave it to you.
Na uli drop out wa kindergarten na nafikiria hivi wewe.
Valentine's, it's standard. Lillian Sission anasema they can both gift each other. Valentine's is meant for all of them.
And I do agree with you, ladies and gentlemen. Karibuni sana to Morning Cafe. I love this kind of feedback.
Do you have some more? Joyce, Honorable Joyce Mudheo, Rejoice. Anasema it depends, though in our context, Kenyan, it's normally expected that the man should provide in whatever event. It's not even in the Kenyan context.
This is a flawed context.
Akuna.
Felix Kipyegon says they should share the cost. I agree.
They should all prepare and share the burdens of the day. That is Bonaya Humanitarian.
Anthony Musyoki says, I believe the cost should be shared. This translates that love should be mutual.
Sasa mnasema 50-50?
Hii nafikiri tumekubaliana. Hata hii show imeisha. Asanteni sana. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
No, you will not cut us short. Let's see what somebody else is saying on video. We have a video here.
Or financial obligation on men. So I feel like if you're a man and you already feel like it's an obligation, I think you really need to go back to the drawing board.
Valentine's Day should never feel like a receipt. Love is not proven by how much a man spends, but how much consistent and respectful he is every day. When affection is measured in money or material.
We will be revisiting some of this feedback as we continue the show. But is it fair? Is it fair?
It is. Let me explain my perspective. Listen, let me explain my perspective. You know, there are people who find that the things that are inherently masculine, you know, and there are things that are inherently, you know, feminine. You know, there are people who find joy. There are people who find, you know, when a man is providing and just say, well, let's see, give me a chance. Kwa nini unajidefend? Hutaki kuprovide Valentine's, ndio? Hakuna.
The question is, it is 2026. In terms of income, in terms of spending power, women are actually doing much better than men.
Yes.
So what? Yes, they are.
No, we are still trying to catch up. We are not doing what we are still trying to catch up. There's still a gap, especially pay gap. There's still that pay gap. So when you you say
chungulia payslip yako wewe huwezi nunulia mtu hata
Fred, comma.
maua.
Koma kabisa. So you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, the things that people find attractive. Like for women, for example, if a man is providing them safety and security, and that would include maybe paying for stuff during Valentine's. Unaona? Actually, you're going to get us flowers. The producer is a woman. I am a woman. The digital person today is a woman. Valentine's Day this week. In fact,
even at the gate,
Scholar will come for sound. And for flowers, Akuna, you will get us flowers.
This is the question we are asking. Is it fair what she's trying to do? Is it fair to actually put the blame, the whole burden on the man? Is it fair? This is what we are asking today, and please be part of this conversation because lazima tujitete kama boy child.
Akuna, we are going the traditional way. Listen, first of all, skiza kwanza, we are doing the traditional love kind of way. If we are going to, you know.
Now when it comes to Valentine's, it's traditional.
It has always been traditional.
Mahali kwingine traditions
it has always been traditional. If you want a submissive partner, you have to do it the traditional way.
Mpaka unataja submissive.
Yeah.
Ikisikia amefika kwa submissive argument ameshindwa.
It's fair.
Is it fair for the man to carry the Valentine spending burden, or should couples share the cost? Actually, hii swali ingekuwa tu, couples should share the cost. Do you agree?
No.
Anyway, please keep the feedback coming. TV47 Digital.
Next.
TV47 Kenya on Facebook. Also on YouTube, that's our page, TV47 Kenya.
Yes.
TV47 Live if you want to stream us live as well. And remember to use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. Is it fair?
It is. Guys,
for the man to carry the Valentine spending burden?
Here for you ladies.
Or should couples share the cost? All right, let's take a look at the traffic situation. Let's take a look at the traffic situation next. Is into the CBD. Already we can see problems along Kangundo Road, but this is on both sides. Areas around Kayole, Kaumarok, that junction, and that junction that goes to Mama Lucy Hospital. They're getting very busy this morning. Let's just point out where exactly you should expect some trouble this morning on the roads in Nairobi. And very quickly, you can already see Kangundo Road sections, areas around Saika. Hata ukifika pale kwa Outer Ring Road, a bit busy. Areas around Feather Tasia and Pipeline, getting busy as usual, but this time around naona ile inaitwaje, Eastern Bypass not so bad today. Once you get to Jogoo Road, pale karibu Mbotela, there's a bit of build-up of traffic, then Shaurimoyo kidogo, a bit of traffic pale Mudhurwa, opposite Machakos bus station, na kama kawaida, areas around Marikiti in the CBD. Today on Thika Road, you can see that the build-up along the Pangani interchange is actually before the interchange, just around the Mathare hospital. So that could be a problem. It means that there could be an incident around that area. So you can already see that all the trouble is this side of Uhuru Highway. Once you cross Uhuru Highway to the other side, you're good. Talking about Uhuru Highway and Mombasa Road, all the way from the airport to the CBD is looking green. Wayaki Way down, past Kangemi, ABC Place is looking green as well into the city center. Ngong Road, nothing to report about, apart from that kadot here around Prestige Plaza. Other than that, traffic situation today is not so bad, but we'll be revisiting this in a short while, probably at 1:30, because mambo itakuwa imebadilika significantly. All right.
This Thika Road imekuwa na shida this week, since Monday, and it's 6:09.
Cha tuende huko juu Thika Road tuone kama kuna shida kama ile tuliona juzi. Not much of a problem. The entire stretch from Ruiru past KU past Kamiti Road, not so bad today. Hata ile trouble tulikuwa tumeona hapa hakuna shida. But if we may expand this, because this is unusual and this could actually become problematic. This is what we are seeing right now, the Pangani interchange. This is the Pangani interchange where Kiambu Road now joins Thika Road into the CBD. But you can see the stretch of red is extending as far back as the Utalii Drift, meaning that now people of Thika Road today ndio ile siku mutaitana. Leo, if at all you can avoid this, probably try and use Kiambu Road as well. Hiyo ni mwaibia siri. Kama uko huku unaweza ingia Kiambu Road, ukuje upitie huko kwingine ndo utoke Kiambu Road, because this stretch here, this one is a problem. Yeah. Pale, and I'm sure by 1:30 the this will have extended back to Survey and the KCA University, which is potentially very problematic. Yes.
That is at 6:10. Let's have the quote of the day.
Face today's tasks head-on. Avoiding responsibility now only delays the inevitable. Growth comes when you act, not when you run.
Let's come back and take a look at the local dailies now.
But before that, let's just remind you of this question. Is it fair for the man? Is it fair? Tumebeba hii mizigo from time immemorial. Mizigo imekuwa mingi. Is it fair that the boy child should, consider it this way. Sometimes, Anne, you have a brother.
Yes.
You have an uncle.
Yes.
You have a guardian, you have a father, you have a husband, probably, I don't know.
Yes.
Forget about the boyfriend and husband. But why would you want that burden to be put on your brother? Would you? Why?
See,
Think about it that way. If you had a son, why would you want it?
I would want him to do it.
Probably, and this is a suggestion, and I've had someone even suggesting that, yes, probably you should give someone of the same gender a gift.
We do.
Yes.
We do. In fact, 13th of February, it's Valentine's Day.
So we No, Valentine's. We're not talking about Valentine's.
Listen, we are starting from 13th, flowers, and then 14th,
Question is,
flowers.
why is Valentine's Day a man's burden?
I said, in fact, on Friday we are going out for Valentine's Day. Listen, let me tell you, you have to change your partner, guys. You can quote me on this one. If your partner is not doing it for you, change him. Change him or her.
Yeah, to change him.
Change him.
Question is, why does it have to be the man's burden? Actually, that should have been the question.
Akuna.
Keep the feedback coming. We'll be having a discussion on that.
Let's take a look at the newspapers now. All right, we take a look at the local dailies in-depth now. We start off with the headlines on the Daily Nation. Unholy Alliance.
All right, the start today, it's D-Day for ODM. Oburu team plans to kick out Sifuna and Mombasa meet. Leo ndio ile siku amesema Sifuna iko nje, Sifuna iko nje, tutaona kama wata kick out Sifuna.
Business Daily, new M-Pesa trading app takes 55% of share orders.
Now, the Standard has done something very interesting. It's both the back and front page.
Very beautiful.
So, unaanzia kule nyuma, it's a very long page. Ruto splashes millions, Kenyans stare at death. That's the Standard. Matters, the drought crisis, getting it to the front page. You remember when he had CS Ruku here? And he said, yes, many people are facing starvation, but the promise by this government is that no one is going to lose their life. But anyway, Kenyans are staring at death while this government spends billions.
All right, they have approved 4.1 billion Kenyan shillings to cushion that. People Daily, I am trying to find it here. It says, do you have it? Oh, beyond the outrage. Can opposition move past moments that generate temporary political heat and craft their own relatable grassroots narrative? That's the People Daily this morning.
What about Taifa Leo? Taifa Leo wanasema wanafunzi hewa walitafuna bilioni 5. And you always see billions on the front page. There's a guy who does content around how much a billion is. Na anasema even if you were to spend a billion, and actually squander 1 million shillings every month, you'd need 83 years to spend 1 billion.
Wow.
Yes.
So imagine if every Kenyan had
now 5 billion, according to Taifa Leo, imeenda tu hivyo. Wanafunzi hewa.
Wow.
Na inakuliwa na watu wachache.
That is the education sector.
Education sector.
Last week we were talking about the health sector.
Yes.
11 billion shillings.
Oh, yes.
Let's cross over now. Our borders, regional dailies. Uganda, new vision. Ugandan stuck in Cambodia named. That's the new vision. The Daily Monitor this morning inaongelelea Magere's tale of thrill and fear. And if we go in depth into it, they say the heavy deployment of security personnel at the home of NUP party leader, that is Mr. Robert Chagulanyi Bobi Wine in Magere, Wakiso district, has caused tension with nightlife business owners complaining their trade has slumped because of restricted movement.
But I thought elections are over. Si mwache tu jamaa, kwani atafanya nini ingine? There's no elections, he cannot be president. He's just going back to kawaida. Kama amekuwa akilea mbuzi, ataendelea tu kulea mbuzi. He cannot be president now until next election. Mbona hii heightened security? But remember, Tundu Lissu bado wako jela, Kizza Besigye bado wako jela.
That's the main story on the front page of the Daily Monitor this morning. The New Vision, nikirudi tu nyuma tuangalie, they say COVID-19 diabetes cases on the rise in Uganda. So they link COVID-19 to diabetes cases. You know, I saw something on X, somebody say that if you took that vaccine, you're likely not to survive June.
Yeah, but do you believe that?
That is could be propaganda, could be true.
Wanaitwa anti-vaxxers. It's a real campaign, especially in the US, who are the people who are opposed to vaccines, but they've always been there. There are people who believe vaccines are very negative to the human race. So they're the ones who feel that way. So you tutawasaidia namna gani?
All right, that's the main story on the front page of the New Vision. According to the World Health Organization, Uganda registered COVID-19 recoveries, that is 100,431. Let's cross over to Bongo now.
Tunaanza na gazeti la Mwananchi, wanaongezungumzia pande mbili siku 100 za Samia. It has been 100 days since election day in Tanzania. So pande mbili za siku 100 za Samia, utekelezaji ahadi za bima ya afya, hata walianza hivyo. Universal health coverage. Bima za afya kwa wote, kutozuia maiti, utoaji ajira, vijana na mchakato katiba mpya wachambuliwa kwa kina. So ni masuala tu ambayo wanaangazia. At least they're considering constitutional review. Ile story ati mtu ameaga dunia kwa hospitali lakini akona bill hawaachili mwili kuzikwa, hiyo pia wanachunguza. So those are just some of the things they're looking at. Na wamepeana mambo 10 pale kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti la Mwananchi, vipaumbele siku 100. Habari nyingine siku na wanahesabu siku nyingi. Siku 731 bila ya Edward Lowassa. Edward Lowassa alikuwa pia ni jamaa mwanasiasa kule, lakini aliaga dunia ni kama miaka 3 hivi iliyopita. Habari nyingine hapa, mgogoro Geita, msukuma mwekezaji kuna jambo. Pale juu wahitimu wapewa jukumu la jamii na kwingineko sababu pikipiki bajaji za umeme kuvunja sheria. Wale wamekataa kuregister pikipiki na bajaji.
Bajaji ni
tuk-tuk. So bajaji zimejaa kila mahali. Hizo hata zikiibiwa you can't follow because it's not registered.
Oh, wow. The Citizen still in Tanzania. Samia scorecard after first 100 days. She completes the first 100 days of her second term in office today, a milestone that has prompted mixed reactions from stakeholders across Tanzania. Now, 53,000 is the number of jobs that authorities in various sectors announced between November 2025 and January 2026, which can be characterized as an obvious attempt to turn policy promises into real results. How Samia's 2 terms differ, pia imeongelelewa hapa ndani. Tanzania navigates delicate diplomatic ties after polls chaos. They also make mention of hidden pediatric gaps driving child mortality in Tanzania. It's a story on page 3. How global EV standards can shape Tanzania. Judicial hurdle emerges in fight to prevent poll document disposal. That's another story on page 3. That's the Citizen, and that's Regional Day List this morning.
All right, so sasa tukiangazia magazeti ya humu nchini kwa kina. There are some stories that I'm seeing they are missing here. One of the stories is what's happening in Nairobi with the county government of Nairobi. You remember what happened with the Sonko government when he ceded a lot of ground to the national government and health services were being controlled by the national government. Now we're made to understand that even Governor Sakaja has ceded quite some ground, especially on matters garbage collection, which I think is a positive thing. He's led that to the national government. So tuone kama national government watashindwa kuokota takataka Nairobi. Pili is about building, so affordable housing. Hiyo imeenda. Alafu now road construction in Nairobi. So shida za barabara, shida za takataka, shida za ujenzi wa manyumba, hiyo sasa tusiblame governor tena. blame
National government.
National government. So that's a big one.
It is.
It's not on any of the dailies, so we're hoping that probably by tomorrow we'll have a lot more so that we can clarify on that and get a lot more detail. The other story I'm seeing missing on the dailies is that there was a cabinet meeting yesterday.
Yes.
And they approved the budget, what they're going to present to the National Assembly as a budget for the next financial year, 2026-2027. 4.7 trillion shillings. Remember, we had a 4.25 trillion shilling budget in the last budget.
Year.
So now it's 4.7 trillion shillings. Tumeongeza tu by another 300 and about 10 billion shillings.
We are a very ambitious country.
Kidogo kidogo tutakaribia Tanzania au inakuanga 63 billion. A trillion.
63 trillion in Kenya shillings is like 4.2 trillion.
Yao ni ndogo, hata ijafika nini, ijakaribia budget yetu. Yetu tukiconvert to Tanzanian or Ugandan money, tunafunga inchi tunaenda. Yeah.
The Daily Nation this morning speaks about unholy alliance. It's a story about monkey business. Governors attack rent-seeking MPs who counter that the guilty are afraid of scrutiny. We made mention of this story yesterday morning. Senators wamesema, if your record is dirty, tutakuanika, hatutakuficha hapa. A bribery scandal that has sparked a bitter feud between governors and senators exposes underhand dealings and a conspiracy to defeat accountability. Now, governors have vowed to name and shame corrupt senators who they claim extort bribes to go easy on audit queries. An extortion racket they admit has thrived for too long. But senators have dared county bosses to make good their threats to snub watchdog committees, questioning why governors will pay bribes if they had nothing to hide.
But
who will blink first?
I think going back to what the president said sometime last year,
yes,
that these people are rent seeking, wanasema soko huru kule bungeni, na kuna ule jamaa wa kamiti anaitwa welfare chairman.
Yes.
Chairman welfare, ati kazi yake ni kuokota tu. Kuokota.
Yeah.
But you see now, once the president says something like that, even governors can come and say, yes, it's true. See, even the president said. And they use it as an excuse not to show up. That is on one hand. The other hand, there could be a lot of truth in this. And watu wanaitisha tu pesa governor. Because all these audit queries, what happens to all these things that the Senate unearths?
Yeah.
Okay, kulikuwa na 3.8 ya Christmas tree. Kulikuwa na 5 million ya housewarming. Kuna 10 million ilienda kwa watu wa bodaboda instead ya kujenga market.
Yes.
Okay, so fine. Mumekuja mume-unveil na mume-unearth. Then what happens? What happens? We've not seen any governor taken to task or taken to court. Wanapiga kelele mbwembwe pale bungeni.
Na kuna evidence kwa karatasi.
Nancy Gathungu amefanya kazi, the Auditor General, lakini ni kama endelee. By the way, watu wanaozungumza huko nini, is it fair for the man to carry the Valentine spending burden?
Wewe koma.
Watu wamekasirika huko mtandao.
Tutarudi kuangalia that one. Let's focus on this for a moment. Council of Governors wanasema, we narrowed down our issues to one committee, and certain members of that committee said its standing orders require that if certain people are mentioned, they step aside from that committee. I've written to the Senate Speaker seeking an audience with the leadership of the Senate. Whatever evidence governors have, we are going to table something is going to change in that particular committee. They're speaking about, is it SPAC? The SPAK, that committee.
The other challenge there is that the Speaker responded. The Speaker for the Senate responded and said, fine, there's a challenge. I'm sure you would want to raise a few questions, but there's a challenge because the Constitution only allows the Senate to review the audit queries and be done with them by a certain period. And that period lapses next month in March. So they're time bound and they have to conduct all these queries and all these sessions before March. So mukisema mwendi sahi, you're causing a bigger problem.
Yes. There's another interesting story here about the drought. Gachagua takes on Ruto over drought ahead of tour. And President William Ruto is going to a 3-day tour in the northern Kenya. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has accused the government of delaying emergency response to drought ravaging northern Kenya, even as the cabinet approved release of 4.1 billion shillings to help the affected regions. An estimated 3.3 million people are facing acute food insecurity, with the cabinet cautioning the figure could rise to 3.6 million by June. Now, 23 counties so far weathering the biting drought. We'll be taking a look at the weather situation in those areas tuone kunakaa vipi. Rigathi Gachagua is saying 173 million will be distributed per county if this amount, 4.1 billion shillings, is of course dispersed to these affected counties. And he says that will be around 1,200 shillings per person, which is below the UN minimum food basket, which it says is around 2,700 shillings per person in these rural areas.
Okay.
So that is what, of course, the former deputy president is contesting here. Once again, the president will be in Garissa today to launch Nyota. Atakuwa kule for 3 days. Okay,
fine. Serious questions, and I think that's where the DCP party leader is coming from. It's the same story on the Standard. Now we can move to the Standard.
Yes.
And it talks about how the president is spending money on one hand, yet millions of people are suffering, are facing severe starvation. So the Standard has done this front and back page.
Yes.
Yeah? Ruto splashes millions, as he's going to do with the Nyota Fund today. Meanwhile, the same region, people are starving and they're facing starvation. As millions across the country scrape leaves from trees and watch their livestock die, children abandon school to forage, mothers go without meals, and communities edge towards collapse. Power fists in Nairobi. So, and the irony of it is, why would the president go to that region for the Nyota campaign? When there's an even bigger crisis.
Yeah.
There have been calls for this to be declared a national crisis.
Yes.
It's there, declare drought national emergency, so that the response can come from different areas. I don't know. Anyway, Kenyans stare at death as the president splashes millions. That's the Standard, and I like the fact that the Standard has given prominence to this story on both the front and the back page. Leo hakuna ati mipira ya wazungu nini.
Hata huko ndani.
The more important stories. All right, I think we should look at this paper.
The Star.
The Star, because the politics is very interesting.
Yes. Oburu team plans to kick out Sifuna in Mombasa meet. They say there's a quiet push to replace him with Governor Otoma. I'll just leave this to you because there's a similar story on the front page of the Daily Nation. Are you
yes, so this story is on page 6, and this meeting is happening today. There have been a lot of calls, a lot of claims and a lot of demands, a lot of pronouncements na kujipiga kifua, leo tunatoa Sifuna. Siku imefika.
Yes.
There's a NEC meeting, National Executive Council meeting. The last time they met is when they appointed Oburu Oginga party leader, immediately after the death of Raila Odinga. So this is probably the highest level of the party. Yeah, forget about the Central Management Committee, na zingine, hata wacha NDC. So this one can actually make a few decisions. But is it that easy to remove a Secretary General? Tunangoja. Najua sawa wameanikwa kwa ukurasa wa mbele ati mnaenda kutoa Sifuna leo. Wacha tuone kama wataweza.
Ama labda ilikuwa ikuwe siri.
Maybe ilikuwa ikuwe siri.
Alafu the Star can earth.
All right, so that's a big story there.
Just the same story before tuachane nayo kabisa. ODM crisis talks after Uhuru's Azimio move. That's another one.
Yes, they're also discussing Azimio.
Yes.
Because Azimio imekuwa shida sana. But then again, hata ODM, can you decide what you want?
Wako all over.
Wako Azimio, wako broad-based, wako...
Lakini we are not judging. If it works for you, fine.
No, we'll be having some of the Azimio members here, or Azimio adherents and supporters, or ODM party members in studio to tell us what exactly they want.
In Azimio, right? Yes. It says, with the deepening power struggle between, of course, factions led by party leader Oburu Oginga and Senate Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, ODM leaders convene in Mombasa to discuss contentious issues. NEC meeting comes amid reports that Dr. Oginga on Monday sought to stem an implosion following a largely successful rally in Busia by the rival camp. Now, the meeting will also discuss the political coup in Azimio coalition staged by former President Kenyatta. Why are they calling it a political coup? Is it a political coup?
ODM, they're not used to someone upstaging them.
Yes.
Yes, because with Raila Odinga at the helm, they were always a step ahead. Politically, at least. Politically speaking, ODM was always a step ahead. Now they're finding themselves, they're reacting to one, President Ruto. Now, secondly, to Rigathi Gachagua, they're also responding to who? Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
They're always responding to Sifuna, responding to everyone, reacting. Kuna shida pale.
Wanaongea sana.
So because I can see time has really moved, and probably it's the same conversation. It's the same conversation on the cartoons. So you could quickly go through the cartoons. The cartoon on the People Daily, kuna machungwa imelipuka hapo katikati. Kuna O side moja, M upande mwingine, katikati ni D. Na Sifuna ako upande moja na amepita na chungwa nusu. Uliona kidance juu ya gari?
Yes.
Ile jeshi la baba akiingia Busia. Watu wamekasirika.
Wakiwa na mwenzake pale.
Anasema I chose to move away with the letter M, which means movement. Ameacha O na D, ameenda na movement.
Right. That is People Daily Stano's take.
Yes.
The Standard, Harry Anasema, we want accountability on the church attacks, and where are the goons and the corrupt cops? It's a play of cards to the authorities. I think they're making mention of that attack at Nyeri. Right?
Plus very many cases of police brutality that have gone unchecked. So that's a high stake. So the rest of the cartoons, the other two, talk about this feud between the Council of Governors and the Senate. One is a Star, and they put this Senate grilling committee. So ile kiti governor nakalia iko juu ya jiko, naitwa hot seat. Public Accounts Committee, alafu wametoroka because their behinds are already red from the fire. Wanasema grill us softly. Umekuwa kali sana. Kweni wapole bwana. Hata sisi tu ni magavana, ni kama nyinyi tu.
The Daily Nation, slurp. Actually, that is how they say it, slurp, with that R. We can't eat and respond to Senate. Governors.
So definitely you can see which big conversation is there.
Right.
ODM on one hand, lakini nyingine, police brutality kidogo, but what is happening between the Senate and the governors, hapo ndio kuna shida.
Let's take a look at what you're saying this morning. Kiprotich Prince Eli, anasema morning, watching live from Kiambu County, Thika Town. Have a great and blessed day, TV47. Have a blessed day, Kiprotich. Christopher Tandi, morning, watching live from Borangi, Kenyambi, Kisii with my wife, Lydia Kirubo, Hadi Tamati. Have a good day. Have a good day too.
Sai Alukwa says, well, good morning, my friends. TV47 now in Kakamega live. Thank you. Keep watching from Kakamega. And Keronche Bivon says, love goes both ways. Nilikwambia. Love goes both ways. Having financial burden on one person should not be taken as usual. Women should learn to share the expenses with their partners. That is in response to
love does go both ways.
That is in response to the question we ask. Is it fair?
You know, I agree with Keronche that love goes both ways. We were talking about finances.
And even the finances should go both ways. I fund, you fund. We split the
50-50.
50-50.
Are you willing to are you willing to also take up responsibilities in the house? Wash utensils, cook up a
pay the bills, drive the car, go to the garage.
No,
all those are things that need to be done.
Simple things. Cook.
Let's take a look at the weather.
Cook and whatnot. Bye. All right, weather update this morning. Nairobi looks so hot today. This morning is 14 degrees, as of 28 degrees today. No chances of rain, I'm so sure about that. Mombasa, it's hot. Hapa kama unaenda holiday, looks so bad. 31 degrees today, that's the highest degree of weather. 24 degrees this morning, so it's definitely a hot morning in Mombasa. Kisumu, even hotter. Not like Mombasa though, but this morning it's 18 degrees. Highs of 27 degrees in Kisumu. The Lake Victoria Basin is cooling off slowly. There's likely to be a little bit of precipitation in Kisumu today. Let's see other areas. Mandera, oh, it's so hot. This is one of the hard hit areas with the drought. 38 degrees today. This morning is 24 degrees, so it's definitely a hot day in Mandera. Kakamega, not so bad, 14 degrees this morning. Highs of 29 degrees, so hotter than Kisumu. Kisumu is cooling down. Nakuru, it's 12 degrees this morning. Today, it will be 26 degrees hotter during the day. That's Nakuru, so it's definitely a hot day in Nakuru today. Let's see other areas. All right, that's the weather update. Mandera, Kakamega, Nakuru, Mombasa. How's Nairobi looking though? It feels like 14 degrees.
Comfortable weather today. The good thing about Nairobi is that you don't even have to check.
Yeah.
Utajua tu mwenyewe. Today you're not suffering. I can see you looking very comfortable.
Today I'm good.
All right. After the break, we take a look at the big headlines with my panelists, Professor Fred Ogola, Wakili Ishmael Nyaribo, and Fwamba NC Fwamba, who's a political analyst, discussing the feud between the Senate and the governors, as well as that ODM meeting. Watatimua Sifuna kweli? Na hiyo hasira yote ya kwenda Azimio, mnakasirikia nani?
Yes.
Kwa nini? Yeah?
Kuna gap. Kuna gap inakuwa filled up.
So do stand by for that conversation. Meanwhile, remember that question. Is it fair to leave all the burden, financial burden, your Valentine's to the man? Is it fair to carry the Valentine's spending burden for the man? Is it fair? Or should couples share the cost?
It's fair. That's the answer.
All right.
TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. We're next at TV47 Digital, and you can tag us. My handle is at @Ann_Odida.
Mine is at Freddy Nimuli. Remember, is it fair?
The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47. Talk to us.
Coming to you in 3, 2.
Looking back, I was a serious workaholic. I'd be working all the time. Come in very early, leave probably the following day. Working so hard within the TV industry, I wanted that to be the place where I could prove myself. I literally nearly killed myself working.
Workaholism is a compulsion to work excessively hard and long hours.
I'm Dumi, I'm 20, and I almost wrecked my life trying to work until I just couldn't anymore.
Workaholism is not yet recognized as a medical condition, but psychologists say the symptoms are much like those of someone addicted to gambling or substances.
In high school, I didn't fit into all the cool groups. I finally went into modeling, going to commercials, and I saw a director on set. As soon as I saw him, I was just like, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. That was where all the top people were. When I started my internship, I knew that this is an opportunity that I can't let go of. I got to meet presenters, celebrities, and you meet designers, you meet all these cool people, and that was what made me want to work harder.
Workaholics often need to increase their workloads to keep getting the same sense of satisfaction from work. This rise in tolerance is a common sign of addiction.
I never managed to disconnect. I'm not trying to prove myself to other people only. I'm also trying to prove something to myself and to show the people I grew up with that I'm someone worth noting. I'm someone worth respecting as well. And another reason is because I'm the firstborn, first of 6 children. So I wanted to be the one to make sure that I'm out of their pockets and I can carve my own way by myself.
Workaholism isn't necessarily about the number of hours you work, but about your ability to put it aside. If you can't step away, it can lead to chronic stress.
Now I'm thinking about work all the time, less contact with friends. So people are like, dude, let's hang out on Saturday. Sorry, man, no, I have to work. I started missing very simple things such as calling my mom. And for a guy who grew up with a single mother, that's not the greatest thing to do. And from there onwards, I'd missed my best friend's birthday as well.
I became concerned when he started doing a lot more late night shifts than he normally did. That's when I started becoming more concerned about his mental health.
Signs of workaholism include freeing up personal time in order to work, feeling stressed when unable to work, withdrawing socially, and working to avoid feelings of guilt, anxiety, or inadequacy.
I started messing up because I couldn't keep up with all the bookings for like a presenter. I couldn't keep up with all the bookings for a sound guy, for camera, all the different shoot days.
Burnout is closely related to work addiction, and may be its major consequence. There are many early signs of burnout: sleep and stomach issues, headaches, poor concentration, chronic exhaustion, and feeling more irritable.
My breaking point finally hit, and it started impacting my body, where I would be holding something as simple as like a cup of coffee and I'm trembling. I came home late from a shoot, and next thing I know, I'm dozing off behind the wheel. Had I not just swayed in a different direction, I don't think I'd be here. After the near-death experience, I went to go see the psychologist.
Work addiction can manifest itself physically, but it can also manifest itself mentally and emotionally. And that's when we speak about mental health challenges like anxiety, like depression, or I think one that is most common is that you're unable to just cope with everyday life. You know, things that you found very easy to do, you don't find so easy to do anymore.
I had some childhood things that I hadn't dealt with. Fear of feeling like I'm less than compared to most people.
I think at times you want to seek external validation, and in that way, you really want to work hard to gain the approval of someone else. And the opposite of that is to be internally validated, right? And in that way, you acknowledge your own strengths.
The best asset that I can invest in is myself. That's where I went, okay, let's start with maybe just making more time to go and work out. From that point onward, I realized that maybe also a change of environment would give me something better. And I resigned, started my own company. I'm a lot better now. Life got a lot more clear.
Noodles once were my daily crave until they led me into a health cave. Now I strive for meals that heal. Noodles, the aroma, the flavor, just feels like, oh my God, these noodles are good. But then, you are in showbiz, you can't be a ball. You have to be an 8, so.
Junk food is ultra-processed food that has low nutritional value. It is often high in salt, fat, and sugar in very unhealthy quantities.
My name is Nakiat, and I'm 13 years old. I love noodles.
Ultra-processed foods are heavily engineered products, designed with improved shelf life, texture, flavor, and appearance in mind. This makes them super tasty, so they're able to trigger strong cravings.
When I started poetry when I was 2.5, when my school needed a toddler to say their anniversary poem, I proceeded from there to winning Talented Kids in 2019. I was actually the first poet to reach the grand finale. There was this organization called the CVF, Climate Vulnerable Forum. I became their thematic youth ambassador. There are some times where I feel tired, bored, and then I like spicy food. That's where noodles come in.
Ultra-processed foods are designed to hit what's been called the bliss point. They combine fat, carbs, and salt in ways that stimulate the brain powerfully. This encourages overeating.
Well, I'm not a fan of sweets, but then if I get to the point where I have to eat it, I eat it non-stop. But I like the drinks.
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV 47 with me, Fred Ndimuli. We want to take a look at the dailies this morning with my panelists. Kenyans stare at death. But this paper, you need to look both at the back and the front page. Yes? Ruto splashes millions. Kenyans stare at death. And that's a reality, according to the Standard, as millions across the country scrape leaves from trees and watch their livestock die, children abandon school to forage, mothers go without meals, and communities edge towards collapse. Power fists in Nairobi. In State House meetings presided over by the president, millions exchange hands and opulence is broadcast for all and sundry. Calls to declare the drought a national disaster fall on deaf ears, with interventions from government haphazard, not reaching the affected. Remember, over 2.5 million Kenyans currently face severe starvation. That's the reality of life. The promise by this administration is that, fine, they're facing severe starvation, but no one of them will lose their life. But if you look at the situation with the livestock and skeletons all over different places, especially in the northeastern region, it's a different story. Meanwhile, what is happening is that what is happening in Nairobi with the president today, he's expected to be in Garissa for a 2-day tour of the northeastern region. He will be disbursing more funds in the millions, about 150 to 200 million shillings of the Nyota Fund, the same area where families are ravaged by hunger. That is a comparison the Standard is making. Well, some people have actually gotten into this conversation as well. One of them is a former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. Let's hear what he had to say about this.
Problem of Northern Kenya is a problem of accountability. theft of public resources by leaders that he wines and dines with. He is going to be with those leaders in military choppers, blowing dust and wind to hungry population with no water and food. I would like to ask him to carry food and water for the people of Northern Kenya.
All right, let me introduce my panelists this morning. Professor Fred Ogola, who's an economics and governance expert. Karibu sana, Bwana Ogola. Fwamba NC Fwamba, social and political commentator. Karibu sana. And Wakili Ishmael Yaribo. Gentlemen, is this comparison fair? He will be there today in Garissa, one of the areas affected by drought, dishing out millions. Yet there's an even bigger crisis. I know many may say Rigathi Gachagua is just seeking political mileage from this, but there's definitely a reality on the ground, and that is that people are almost dying, yet the president will be going to that same area, but with a totally different agenda.
You know, Fred, when you say comparison, my English teacher will be very annoyed if you call that comparison. There's what they call comparison and what they call contrast. This is a contrast. It's like day and night. Day and night is not comparable, they're just contrast. If you look at what's happening here, it's unfortunate that the people who are in the same party, the deputy president and president, are now the ones we are comparing who stands for the truth and who is standing for a lie. I think we are in very healthy times now when you hear that. But look at it economically. What is it that can help the Northeastern? Because I don't want to go into the politics of it. Whether or not Nyota Fund is what I call the stimulus for economy. You know, there's what you call a tool for poverty. What is the right tool to solve the poverty? It is not a handout, Fred. It is not a handout in any way. I just want to take it back to when I grew up as a young boy. My father could tell me, go and till that my plot up there, then I'll give you 500 shillings. There's a time when he also gave me 500 shillings all doing nothing. Fred, you can compare those two things. The money that I went and I worked and I was given, I felt more entitled to that money. I protected that money much. At the same time, there was what's called exchange of value. My father get his part of the plot dug so that he can plant maize or something. Me, I get 500 shillings. Economy believes that money is a medium of exchange. Nobody should just give you money for the sake of it because that causes inflation. For example, if it is true actually that Nyota Fund is money being given to people, do you know that can cause inflation? That's why as an economist, I don't have to go to Northeastern. I don't have to travel with the president. This money is fake, it's not being given. And let me tell you, Fred, just a few numbers here.
No, but people are receiving the money, Professor.
No, Fred.
20,000 shillings.
Let me ask a question.
Receive the second tranche in a
You
while.
go to church.
The question now is,
you go to church.
Should that be what the president is doing in Northeastern?
Fred, let's look at evidence here. In God we trust, the rest bring evidence. You, Fred, you go to church, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Do you know any church member of yours who have received that money? You are in a WhatsApp group of people who are looking for money, who are poor, who wants fundraising, who are hungry, who are dying. Have you heard someone saying, today I've received mine? You are in a family. Do you know any family member of yours, or your relative, or your neighbors where you grew up, or your friends went to school who received this money? So Fred, you want to tell me that this money is so selective that no one in your network receives it? Do you know, I give an example. This money is targeting around 400,000 Kenyans, isn't it? Do you know how many policemen you have in Kenya? Around 150,000. But you know a neighbor, you know a church member, you know someone else who is a policeman, isn't it? How comes 150,000, you can know someone in that network, but 400,000 people you don't know? The second evidence I have for you, let's go to Saint Mohammed, who is in State House, go to his Twitter handle on 16th of January. He posted that they have given money to 58,000 Kenyans in 26 counties. You understand? One of the counties being Makueni, Kitui, Machakos, and the rest. Now, let's do the maths, isn't it? 58,000 people who have businesses, isn't it? Nyota Fund should go to business, which means that in those 26 counties, there are 58,000 businesses. If you divide that by 26, it means for every county, there is 2,500 companies thereabout. You get me? If you take that to sub-county level, there is over 780 companies in every constituency in Kitui, for example, Machakos. Now, do you want to tell me you can have 750 businesses in one constituency and we have no employment in Kenya? Okay. Fred, these things does not math.
Okay.
It doesn't math, and I can tell Kenyans that this is a scam of the highest order.
And I don't want, Professor, for us to focus too much on criticizing the Nyota Fund. It's the optics that I'm worried about, Fuamba, that at a time when the president could have fashioned this trip to the northeastern Kenya as a response to the kind of crisis that we are facing, he's going there instead to launch the Nyota Fund. This is something that could have been delayed. This is something that could have come at another different time. Ideally, the president should not just be working, but also being seen to work, because he carries the aspirations of the entire country. For someone who's dying, or someone whose parent is facing starvation, should the Nyota Fund be the lead idea on this 2-day trip? Shouldn't it be as a major response by government to the drought situation?
Thank you, Fred. I do not think that's accurate as far as the newspaper is concerned, talking about death and at the same time splashing millions. Of course, money is getting to the Kenyans. So there is no problem when there is money available. In fact, it's an advantage. Is that an added advantage that apart from the government initiatives towards the issues that are at hand, there's also that ongoing activation of the Nyota program, whereby young people who don't have the level of education like Professor Ogola, or people who do not have money at the level of Professor Ogola, are getting money from the government to start small businesses. Some of us are unable maybe to locate those people who are getting those monies because we are not at that level. You know, the kind of bracket that is being targeted are people who have low income and people with the education, not to the level of Professor Ogola. Then I also want us not to live in denial, because the drought situation is a natural calamity, and it's not the first time it's happening. It is something that has happened for many years during dry seasons. Of course, when you look at the northern Kenya... And government response has always been criticized. Progressively. If you look at the past, you realize that the challenges that existed are like lack of water resources, dams, and the initiatives that have been put in place right now by the government. I heard the president announcing that they have intentions to build 50 dams across the country, especially the arid and semi-arid areas. So if you look at the problem we are having right now, it did not start today. We must also appreciate the efforts the government is putting in place right now. And we should not lay blame of the problems that have existed, including these natural calamities, to the current regime. What is it that the previous governments used to do? Like when I see someone like the former deputy president uttering words like he woke up today and all of a sudden is blaming the government, the current government, of all the problems that are happening, then he looks like he's out of touch or deliberately trying to spin something that is so critical that is supposed to be looked at. This is the same administration that promised 100 dams across the country in response to such challenges. So you're saying we shouldn't hold this administration to account, even on some of its promises, given the challenges that this country knows it faces regularly? I think last week, Fred, you are hosting the CS for Special Programs and Public Service, Honorable Ruku, and I think he gave his own account. I watched you, and I think he gave his own account of what the kind of measures the government has put in place to deal with those issues. So there are usually short-term measures and then long-term measures. For short-term measures, I think the government always supplies relief food to support those families. But long-term measures have always been initiated in terms of construction of dams. Is it the right time, Wakili, to give the Nyota Fund to someone whose family is facing severe starvation? Would it directly translate to the main intention of the Nyota Fund, starting a business, where the main need there is food?
Yeah. I think, Fred, thank you for the opportunity. I think it's good if you send any money to a household. That is okay. I mean, there is money in that household. On that, I agree with my colleague when he says, I mean, we cannot criticize the government about the Nyota Fund. I think the Nyota Fund was not drought-based, but it is a program that was supposed to help young people to achieve their business intentions. And it is true. I've actually encountered several people who have earned, from Nyota Fund. But why are we fixated on Nyota Fund? That is where the problem is, because there is a notion that the government can resolve all societal problems, and that is not right. When you assume that William Ruto will make sure there is no drought, that is a wrong imagination.
No, that is not.
But you see,
we've not even suggested that. Allow me to counter that, because
there is this contestation.
The only reason we're talking about Nyota Fund is that on his 2-day tour of the Northern Eastern region, where there's severe drought, he's going to launch the Nyota Fund. Yeah?
I think the timing is wrong.
He can launch it any other time.
In that, I agree entirely with you. The timing is wrong. But you ask me a question, is it right to give money to such people right now? I think it's okay. If Fred, you send some M-Pesa to me right now, here in the studio, I'll be very happy. I mean, you could send it also another time.
If I send you money for school fees today or for hospital bill, and it's specifically for the hospital bill, but you're hungry at home, will that money help the intended need?
Okay, I understand, Fred, where you're going, but allow me to buttress my point. We have development partners in this country. We have climate change problems. I want us to look at it in the bigger sense, that it is not the government that can implement problems of a drought nature, so that it is true.
If it's not the government, then who? Okay.
We have development partners. We have huge sums of money lying somewhere to deal with climate change, Fred. And instead of this being given to several, to hard-hit areas directly, this money is coming to government. Give me a minute. This money is coming to government, and government is playing patronage to the system, the people who work with government. That is where the problem is. So that instead of letting this money go directly to the people, they are talking about the Nyota Fund. The Nyota Fund itself has no problem. But you see, instead of allowing citizens to access, these climate change funds directly, it's coming to, OP. And after it comes to OP, it is channeled in such a manner that your Northeastern is given like a gift. Then you're saying there are 26 counties somebody has, alluded to from State House. That money, how do you choose that it is people of Taita Taveta and it's not the people of Isiolo? It is because of government patronage. And I keep saying that the government cannot be a solution to the societal problems we have. It is in fact it is the people themselves who must come up and create solutions for their problem.
If the government is not going to offer solutions to the pressing needs that the Kenyans face, then why do we have a government in the first place?
Fred, I think that the most important question that Wakili is trying to refer to is not blaming the Nyota Fund, but what is the government priority? Now, the question we should be asking, if you are the president, Fred, and you have 5 billion shillings, where would you put that money? Let us not just look at the Nyota Fund, because this is what we call zero.
And once again, allow me to clarify, because we are not opposed to the Nyota Fund, and we've supported Nyota Fund as it goes across the country.
I agree.
The question is the timing of this one. A 2-day visit by the president to a place where it is ravaged by severe starvation.
Yes, Fred.
And then you go launch.
Your point is, I'm trying to say, let's look at it just from the question that if you have 5 billion shillings, because Nyota Fund is a 5 billion shillings, where will you take that money? I've just done my economic analysis here, and I find, for example, what is troubling Kenya is that Kenyans have no access to credit, isn't it? Some businesses, if they get access to credit, they can easily be able to employ some people, than throwing this money saying you are giving them to people who actually cannot run a business, or at least, even if you give them money, what business can you begin with a capital of 50,000 and run? Let's be honest, I criticize Hustler Fund on the same basis.
Depends at your level.
Mm-hmm. You understand? I heard them saying, you can buy eggs and sell here. That is not a business, right? Let's be honest, and let's be honest ourselves, isn't it? If you go even to the place they call Singapore, no one gave Nyota Fund in Singapore. You understand? No one gave Hustler Fund in Singapore. We know what you can inject in the economy. For example, if you take 40% of that 1 billion shillings and just put money on SME to expand themselves, lower their credit, isn't it? Do incentives, for example. Another one I was talking about, the issue is agro-processing. If you put 30% of that money in agro-processing, those are alternative investments that can actually spur the economy. But when you take this money and give it out, isn't it? How is it coming back? You understand?
Okay.
When there's somebody you give some money that's not come back, you don't know how to come back. If you go to a bank and get credit, and you know very well you're going to pay back that money, you use this money very differently from when you are just given. Hustler Fund was a failure whereby the repayment rate was horrible. We lost almost 500 billion shillings there. And I went to court to challenge Hustler Fund. And I'm not speaking from the blues, you understand? So let's be honest here. The alternative way to spend this money is quite different for me.
Okay.
And then let's talk about, for example.
And without the risk of going away, because I don't want us to discuss Nyota Fund or the good things or the bad things that could be there. It is about the drought situation. That is what we are talking about.
Fred,
Yeah. The Nyota Fund it just happens to be, because there are other issues that the president is being accused of doing, is splashing millions on political events at State House.
In this country,
we're not talking about that.
In this, can we, you know, we have a lot of money that actually circulates around the globe to deal with such issues of drought. My point, I just want to highlight that one. We have UNICEF is interested in how things happen. The FAO, the food organization. And there are many humanitarian organizations in the world that are interested to mitigate such situations.
And not a government.
My point is, no, these are not governments, but these are serious institutions, equivalent or even more than what governments do. But my point is, Fred, when we take this money and we give it to the government, which is like Kenya, heavily party politics and a tribal, grouping, what happens is genuine people suffering from drought in northern Kenya don't get that benefit. That's my point. Okay. And the government believes that for you to be considered a good citizen, you must work with the government. And because of that, so the people running the system tend to distribute this money to people who they feel will support them. And that is where, in my case, the problem is.
Yes, because final word on this, because the issue is how government is spending money, including at State House, hosting aspirants and giving them, according to this paper, 10,000 shillings each. Forget about Nyota Fund, yes? Yet there's a serious problem elsewhere. Shouldn't we be attending to the crisis first?
First, I want to address the issue of 50,000 shillings. There are businesses that can be at different levels, Professor. And there are even people who run businesses with a capital of 10,000 shillings. So 50,000 means a lot to certain people, just like a billion shillings can mean a lot to someone like you who is a presidential candidate. Therefore, they say do not despise humble beginnings. Now, getting back to the issue you've raised, Fred, I insist that there's no need for us to stop doing one thing at the expense of the other. We can be able to do all these things concurrently. Ensure that the programs of the government are running, like the Nyota Fund and other projects are running, and at the same time, we are responding to humanitarian crisis that has emerged. Because in 2009, remember, we had these Kenyans for Kenyans, something like that, where people raised money because of the drought situation. Now, what we should be talking about is having real sustainable means of avoiding such situations in future. Remember, people keep on referring to the session paper number 10 of 1965 as the basis of discrimination of the arid and semi-arid lands, especially northern Kenya, in favor of the arable lands. All previous governments have focused developments within these so-called high potential areas. Even yesterday I saw a gazette notice by the CS for Treasury. You look at the distribution of funds in the name of urban development, it's so much focus on the places that have already been developed. So we need to reorganize our policies so that they are uniform. There is equity all over the country. And I think that's what President Ruto has tried. I met someone from northern Kenya the other day who said that the first time they experienced what they call independence was in 2022 when they elected President William Ruto, who has given them more attention than any other government before. All right. And the dams that are being constructed, in my opinion, would be helpful to the country because those areas, during rain seasons, they experience heavy flooding, like in Mandera. They experience very heavy flooding. And during drought season, they are the same people who experience those problems. Therefore, if we have dams constructed and water reservoirs existing, we'll have irrigation activities within those areas and we'll be able to have sustainable solution.
It's either comparison or a contradiction.
Contrast.
A proper contrast. What the president is doing with the money available to him and what's happening to our brothers and sisters in the northeastern part of this country. Let's take a short break.
And you talked about State House.
Allow us to take a short break. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we continue with this conversation or we move on to the bigger conversation about this feud between the Council of Governors and Senators. You're watching Morning Cafe.
coming to you in 3, 2.
Looking back, I was a serious workaholic. I'd be working all the time. Come in very early, leave probably the following day. Working so hard within the TV industry, I wanted that to be the place where I could prove myself. I literally nearly killed myself working.
Workaholism is a compulsion to work excessively hard and long hours.
I'm Dumi, I'm 20, and I almost wrecked my life trying to work until I just couldn't anymore.
Workaholism is not yet recognized as a medical condition, but psychologists say the symptoms are much like those of someone addicted to gambling or substances.
In high school, I didn't fit into all the cool groups. I finally went into modeling, going to commercials, and I saw a director on set. As soon as I saw him, I was just...
All right, welcome back. This is the Morning Cafe as we continue looking at the headlines this morning with Professor Fred Ogola, political analyst Fwamba NC Fwamba, and Wakili Ishmael Nyaribo. Just before the break, of course, the drought situation is a big deal, and the president is heading there to the northeastern region for a 2-day visit. On day one, he'll be launching the Nyota program, and hopefully, we hope that the president will also seek to address the current crisis in that region. I want us to move to the other story that's making headlines. And I'm looking at the front page of the Daily Nation. Of course, that issue about drought is also featuring there because the former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, took on Ruto yesterday over the drought crisis in the northeastern region ahead of his 2-day tour. President William Ruto, I'm sure he'll be looking to respond to this in one way or another. Maybe not verbally, but actually do something that shows that he's doing it. But I want us to move on to the...
It's not about the former deputy president. Whatever he's talking about is just political. We know very well that he's a tribalist.
It is okay.
And he has been pushing a tribal narrative.
Given them that
he's only trying to endear himself to the people of Northeastern. People he has never talked about.
If you hand your rival political forward, Fwamba, you know as a...
So he's just taking advantage of the situation. Not that he thinks so much about them, more than he thinks about his usual narrative of tribalism.
We are not trying to give...
We cannot instruct the government.
Fred, allow me to say something
very
briefly about that matter. I don't want to talk about the former deputy president, but I think that Fwamba is incorrect to say he's a tribalist because that is an accusation. You understand? I don't think that you need to throw words at him because...
But it's a well-known fact.
No, it's not a well-known fact.
That is not what we are discussing. We're not discussing Rigathi Gachagua here. He brought up an issue, we've addressed it, and I think we should move on. So let's talk about the Senate.
So,
Professor, let's talk about
just allow me to make that comment I was supposed to make. I am an author of a book called Solomonic Economics, and we believe development as freedom. It relates to what Wakili said. You will be free the day you will have a say on how your money is being spent, and when you'll have knowledge of where that money should go. Okay. But when money comes from Nairobi, and money is thrown into Garissa, Mandera, without having knowledge of the people in Mandera, where would they want this money? So instead of someone says we should put on Nyota fund, or you should come and do boreholes, what is the public participation of the people of Garissa and Mandera? Where should this money go? And I think for me, I have not been to Mandera, and it is disadvantage to say they should spend it this way. Why don't the president go there and sit down these elders and ask them, where should I put this money? And with that, we shall get it right.
He's going there today, and tomorrow he'll be in that region.
Will he listen?
And of course, we do expect that at least he will attend to that matter.
Fred, whenever we talk about government projects, let us avoid talking about the past, kindly. I mean, this is your show. When we talk about accountability, let's forget about Uhuru Kenyatta. Let's forget about Rigathi Gachagua.
There's a government in place right now.
The people in State House, the people in office are the people running government.
I agree with you, Wakili. Whether someone failed in the past...
And we must criticize
You cannot talk about the future.
I mean, you cannot
talk about the past.
No. You cannot...
You must understand the past for you to correct the future.
This is good Fwamba, and I am not refuting, by the way, that argument, but I mean, you can do...
We cannot make demands on a former president right now.
But who is in State House cutting the cake?
Yes.
That is where
we cannot blame the government of the day.
No. We are not blaming
the mistakes of the past.
We are not blaming the government. We are calling for accountability today.
All right.
Yes, we're not blaming anyone.
But we must not sweep things under the carpet.
Speaking about accountability, there's a big discussion about how governors should be held accountable. And that's a big divide right now. That's a push and pull between the Council of Governors and the Senate. And it's to do with allegations of corruption within parliamentary committees, bribery allegations. Now, governors have attacked rent-seeking MPs who counter that the guilty are afraid of scrutiny. So on one hand, the governors claim that bribes are being demanded from them by senators as they appear before the committees to answer to audit queries. On the other hand, senators are saying you're simply afraid to answer questions. It is what features on two of the cartoons on the dailies today. Now, yesterday the Speaker of the Senate responded. His major concern is a time limit that they have as a House to attend to all these audit queries. But that's not the issue. The issue is there's claims of bribery within parliamentary circles, which even the President raised an issue on last year, and whether or not there's a reality to that. Let's listen to what some of these senators had to say, beginning with the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee in the Senate, that's Senator Kajwang.
If you come here with embarrassing records, we will embarrass you. If you come here with embarrassing responses, we will embarrass you. If your audit reports are an embarrassment indicative of theft, we will not bembeleza you.
Our clerks should look at our schedule and front load the governor of Mandera, is it? Wajir. Yeah. And the governor of Tarakanith. We really want to start those formal meetings with those two here first.
I have not to mention names. And that's why today I have written to the Speaker of Senate as the head of Senate and also as chair of Senate's Powers and Privilege Committee, seeking an audience with the leadership of Senate.
Wao pamoja na sisi, unajua tunasema kwamba mgalo muue, lakini haki hakufanya nini? Mpe. Mahali tumefanya tunafanya, lakini kuna watu wazuri katika Senate hili. Kuna maseneta ambao wako na nidhamu. Yeah. Wengine wanaokota ni pesa wanataka wakufanyia kampeni ya ugavana.
Isn't it both sides would say they're all right?
I don't think they are right.
Okay, who's wrong, Wakili? Who's wrong?
You see, you're given about 10 billion to manage for accounting. To be honest, you must account for that money. Whether you want to call Chama Chawa Mama so they account, so you account to them, we want these governors accountable. If you're running a budget of 9, 10 billion, 11 billion, some 15 billion, in fact others running into 20 billion, you must explain to your people that I was given 20 billion, hey, this is how I spent it. That's what they are asking. That's what we're interested in. And then, but these people are actually returning, you're getting 9 billion, you are returning 4 billion to the treasury. You are not, there is no development project.
The COG, let's be fair to them, they've raised specific issues. They're saying we are not refusing to be held accountable. Our members have showed up to Senate, but the problem is there appears to be an ulterior motive of summoning us to Senate.
No, you see,
it is to actually seek bribes.
That is why we have constitution, we have the laws. I mean, tafadhali, let's not run side shows. This is our money. By the way, this is not money of a governor and a senator. This is public money. So what they should do in the least is to go to the Senate and complain that, you know, yesterday I was asked for money from XYZ, this and that, senator. The President has already alluded to the fact that the Parliament, National Assembly and also the Senate, they ask for money. I don't think there's anybody really not aware about that.
The same President also promised that some action will be taken. He promised that people will be taken to jail. Nothing has happened. The lack of consequence, even when there's serious claims of corruption within parliamentary circles, is also a problem for me.
Most governors are joking with public funds. They are not accountable. We've seen a good number of them have become overnight billionaires. If you look at their expected income against what they own right now, it's something that they cannot account for. And that's something that is open and people can see. they cannot escape accountability because the Senate, in terms of oversight roles, as stipulated in Article 96 of the Constitution, is carrying out its mandate. So if there is any criminal element among the senators, especially those ones who are looking for bribes, we still have those structures. And the first thing, if you
Which structures are these? My concern now is that there's always lack.
We have institutions. Of course, we have internal mechanisms of addressing the issues with the Senate. But again, if you spot any crime anywhere, you're supposed to report to the authorities.
Remind me of one instance where a member of the National Assembly or the Senate has actually been taken to task. Yet we've had claims of bribery in the Houses of Parliament for so many years.
What the governors are talking about is something like a rumor. If it's a criminal offense that has been committed, they can go just like any other ordinary citizen and record the statement with the DCI so that any person who has been involved in corruption can be prosecuted through the processes that exist as per our laws. Anything else that they are trying to put across is just some kind of excuses, but the governors must be held accountable. They cannot escape that.
The nature
and this is not their money.
Yes.
The offices they hold are in public trust. They are not their personal officers. So their opinion that they don't want to appear before the Senate cannot hold any water as far as the laws of this country.
They're raising serious concerns on what they believe is undue harassment, or what they call harassment against them. The fact that we are looking at parliamentary procedures which are protected, inviting the DCI into Parliament to investigate claims of bribery is unheard of. Don't you think that that is part of the problem, that with all these claims of corruption and bribery within parliamentary circles, even a promise by the President to do something, no action is being taken?
Fred, first of all, let's be honest here, that according to the law and the Constitution, the senators have got the right to call them to Parliament and they must answer questions. Also, the fact that, as Wakili says, that if they are given around 10 billion shillings to overlook, they must be accountable. Now, is the claim that they are being asked for a bribe true? Yes, it is. Is the claim that they are not managing funds well true? Yes, it is true. So for the first time, we have set a thief to catch a thief. And this is the only way you can sort out the matter, because I was being told that there is no village where we can have witch doctors and also thieves at the same time. If you go to some areas which are known for witchcraft, there are never thieves there. And places where there are witchcraft, you don't, where there are thieves, they always know witchcraft. So here we have, in one place where there is witchcraft and thieves. So when they meet together, they run away. Like if thieves come to your home at night and meet night runners, you are very safe because all of them will run. So for the first time, we are finding whereby senators who have been asking for bribe meet these guys who have found it cannot work, because I'm sure what has been happening, they have been giving little, and the more you give, these guys are demanding more. Just like you had in strategy in business where they say that the carrot and the stick. So they are giving the carrot, but the carrot is getting bigger that you now can't give anymore. And the stick also is very strong that if you beat, you now have to increase the size of the stick as increase the size of the carrot. So it has come to a time whereby none of them have found this relationship actually sustainable. Because senators are asking for more, those guys are giving more, and for them to give more, they have to steal more, because this money they're giving is not legitimate money, and it's not from their salary. So they find that it's becoming unsustainable, and I think this is just one thing, that this clash between the Senate and governors is good for the common mwananchi, because now they know their money is being stolen. Yeah. Now, what should be done? According to me, what should be done is a serious audit, independent audit, because now Senate has proven they have lost legitimacy in interrogating. And anything to pass in Parliament, look at people who have been brought with the evidence of impeachment. They walk away like they have gone to a washing machine. Remember whereby you are fallen on mud and you roll, you are muddy. Then you enter a washing machine, you come out when you are clean as cotton. You understand? So Senate has proven that they are incapable of oversighting governance, because if that was the case, I come from Siaya. Forget about even this new blaming the Kenyan government, national government. Nothing is going on there. James Orengo was a senator. He saw that maybe he was there interrogating governors, and he knows these guys are having money, so he chose to become a governor. Why do you think people who are senators are now realized better to become a governor? And some of those people who are governors now complaining they don't want to be oversighted by Senate were actually senators who became governors. So it means that the county government, with good intention from Raila Odinga to devolve the funds, have not seen the advantage for Kenyans are getting. Now, as LDP, we are very clear that we meet governors who are technocrats, not these politicians. I can give you an example. For example, we can actually announce now that...
Are they any better? Because when it comes to corruption, it doesn't say that only politicians are corrupt. Even technocrats are corrupt.
No, just listen to me. In LDP, we shall do serious discipline for our own candidates. Like now, I'm the LD presidential aspirant, isn't it? Do you think myself I can entertain corruption? The governor candidate for Nyandarua is Dr. Karagu. You understand? He is a technocrat. He is actually a professor in a university somewhere in Canada, but he comes to do his campaigns. I told him, you are a technocrat. We want to see how you win your vote, and we want you to run like that. Now, I don't want to run because others are still under Chini Amaji. I have 4 other people who want to run for governor who are purely technocrats. You get me, Fred?
And you see that as a solution, having technocrats?
Yes, because what's happening? Listen, Fred, there's something they are signing with LDP.
Yes.
That in any day they are going to violate the ethical codes of LDP. They are not members. Because we are not even, listen.
I wanted to tell you.
Because I'm looking for a solution here. He feels that technocrats will be the solution. But Wakili, the solution, according to the Council of Governors, is reconstituting these committees. Don't you think that that is a valid demand by the governors? Because the membership would still come from the same Senate.
I think it is valid, Fred, but the timing is not right. Now, you know, we've moved into an electioneering mood in terms of 2027. So trying to change the committees right now, again, there will be a lot of interest. And what are they saying? They are basically saying that the chairman of the accounts committee is not right. That's what they're trying to allude if they want to change the committees right now. And I don't think they're justified. The main issue, Fred, here is this is our money. And I don't know whether we understand the full criminal conduct of governors when they misappropriate money, which is governed under the public finance, which is governed by the Constitution. And this is our money. It's money that is supposed to... You see this suffering we have in Northeastern? It can be mitigated by proper spending.
The Senate should be willing to sit to some ground and change the committees.
And then again, Fred...
They'll still have ownership of the committees.
And money, I want just to comment about what Prof has alluded to. Money is very powerful, Fred. I mean, I think Kenyans did not know until about 1992 when we started receiving so much money after, you know, the multipartyism. Money is very basic. I mean, forget the gospel. We were taught as children that, oh, you should not love money. If you are rich, you go through the needle to go to heaven. Today, everybody knows, everybody, including young people, that money is an important tool. So what these governors are doing, trying to impoverish people, creating poverty. There are programs that, for example, are given like in the villages nowadays. This one for, so mamas don't inhale smoke, you know, something like improving the villages. They have huge money. But governors are not giving that money. Instead, what you see World Bank writing saying, so-and-so has misappropriated money, governor for that county, they have not given that money.
I'm looking for a solution.
Fred,
because
look at it this way.
Accountability
this is sabotage to counties, by the way.
Yeah?
This is sabotage to devolution.
I agree with
and it should be taken very seriously. And when he says police cannot go to the National Assembly, police can actually go to anywhere where there is crime.
Fred, so solution is to bring DCI into the National Assembly.
Those things
what about that suggestion by the COG? Just simply reconstitute the committee.
No. That is like forum shopping. They want to decide on who is supposed to ask them questions. Like they have clearly stated that this current committee is asking them difficult questions. And for Kenyans, it's in the best interest of the ordinary taxpayer for those senators to ask those difficult questions, because corruption has been ongoing in the counties, and county assemblies have been trying their oversight role. And the Constitution also gives authority and power, the Senate, to ensure that our monies are used well, because the first role of the Senate is to protect the interests of the counties. But governors do not understand that when we talk about the interests of the counties, we are talking about the citizens' rights. We are not talking about the governors in particular. So they cannot come up with arguments that they want the committees to be reconstituted so that they can be asked softer questions or so that they cannot be held to account for the kind of misappropriations that they have been doing in their counties.
All right.
So the solution, one of the solutions that I want us to look at, like so Professor Ogola raising the issue of senators becoming governors, governors becoming senators, and like playing musical chairs. We need to have a law so that someone who has served as a governor, for example, cannot become a senator immediately. Because what happens is that some of the records we are scrutinizing today are improprieties that happened in the previous regime, which means that if someone is a senator and in the last regime he was, in the last term he was a governor, he also try to talk around with his colleagues so that he protects himself against being held accountable.
Right. Hold that thought, and I know, Prof, you might want to contribute. But just before that, let's go to my colleague, Anne Odida, for some feedback. Anne, what do you have for us?
Well, the conversation is heated there, Fred. Let's see what the people have to say this morning concerning what you are talking about. Augustine Mutua, let them appear and decline any extortion solicitation from the senators. There is no non-legal leeway for senators to exact any punitive action against anyone on account of failure to offer bribe. Otherwise, these are petty excuses not to appear for grading. Augustine anasema petty excuses. John Murithi, they are dodging accountability. Advisor Pastor Emmanuel Barasa Manu, magavana wanajua ni kubaya, that's why they want to refuse. We have some more. Bayvon Wanderi, governors say we run counties, we deliver roads, hospital, jobs. Senators say we protect public funds and represent counties nationally. Result, ego clash plus political chest thumping. Anthony Wekesa, corruption from the above. Princess Noreen, let them face reality. The White, siku zote wezi hawaelewani. Edward Bitonyi, hawataki waulizwe maswali ngumu. Francis Loti, katika uongozini watu hawapendani, juu mimi ni mkubwa pia wewe ni mkubwa, kuelewana ni ngumu, kila moja anataka asikike, kuelewana ni vingumu. Honorable Kipngetich Koech, ubinafsi wao. Chelsea Kuku says nani anakula zaidi ya mwingine. Bernard Nakahale Ekidor, mali ya umma. Crispin Okumu, wengi wa maseneta wamezea mate viti vya gavana mwaka 2027. Ni vita vya mafahali wawili wakitataka kutafuna asali. Omondi Wasuna, pesa. Fantas Ngunjiri anasema pesa tu. John Johnny, wakora tupu. Jesimat Kipa, ni tofauti ya cheo pamoja na maendeleo. So Fred, of course it's a power struggle here, as we see from these comments that we are getting this morning. But we do welcome your feedback. Keep interacting with us, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. On X as well, TV47 Digital. Of course, we'll be happy to hear from you, Fred.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you so much for your feedback. Keep it coming. And it would appear that a lot of our viewers agree with my panelists that governors are simply trying to dodge accountability. But the question I was asking is, how can this be handled? Fine, we'll criticize the governors, say they're trying to escape accountability, then they're demanding for this and the other. Prof, what would be the solution in the current quagmire that you have? Because even the statement by the Senate Speaker did not offered very little solution.
Yeah.
In fact, it just introduced a new problem about the time limit they have.
Oh, yeah. First of all, Fred, I'm a Jesuit educated. Jesuit comes from St. Ignatius of Loyola. They believe on that you must go to the root cause of a problem rather than scratching on the symptoms of a problem. I've gotten 17 years of Jesuit education. I was formed by Mihail missionaries, which has formed on values. And at the same time, I work with Opus Dei, which has modeled my values, understand? Then I'm inspired by St. Francis. Why am I trying to say this? If you look at what Pope Leo has written as his first encyclical ever, he has written stewardship for the love of the poor. And if you look at that piece, it calls upon high level of responsibility, which must, first of all, must be seen in the individual, but also in the institution. So our laws, ethical, first of all, were we creating a county government for people to have access to money, or we are creating county governments for money to go? The institutional weaknesses, even if you just leave county government, even go to the CDF, the structural weaknesses of the money being given to any politician is on the roof, even if you go to State House. Like now, go to the Hustler Fund, go even to the issue of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, even where Parliament cannot oversight it. Now, even Buddy is saying that the fund is creating the single signatory. So structural weaknesses, how we are handling money. Do you know how powerful a Pope is? How much money goes to the Holy See? But you won't see that the Pope is wealthy. When we have people have a lot of interest who wants to become wealthy. Secondly, you've had now, it is going across all ministries, all PSS now, all governors are looking for re-election. When you hear the word two-term, people are thinking two-term means Ruto should be the second president. Two-term here means that people are looking for money for election. Like I know even the Minister of Trade, whereby a PS is frustrating everything because he's looking for kickbacks, money, to build the war chest for campaign for 2027. So the structural weaknesses is a problem. Then second thing I want to put abroad, Fred, there are three things that everybody believes others are getting more than them. One is senators, they believe governors are wealthier than them. And governors believe senators are making more money than them. Now, if those governors believe that to become the senator, you make more money, let them switch from governor and become a senator. Right. Even when I was in school as a faculty, there are some staff who used to think faculty enjoys more than administrators. Also, the other thing people believe that people enjoy more than them is power. That so-and-so is more powerful than the other. Mm-hmm. Even your family say, you know, being a firstborn, you're more powerful than a lastborn. Okay. And also love. People believe others are getting more love than them. So this will remain a competition forever. The sibling
rivalry will continue.
Will continue. But what we need to find out as Kenyans, do we have powers to legislate and actually remove some of these things? Okay. Disadvantageously, if citizens do not have how they can also rule directly. You have the sovereign power belongs to the people. It can be exercised directly or indirectly. Mm-hmm. Currently, there is no constitutional mechanisms to exercise that power directly.
Thank you, Prof.
And before we have that power with us as citizens, I told you, we will always be taken up for a ride by our politicians. We'll be taken for a ride by our MPs. And Fred, I want to end by saying I'm organizing a summit. This is not a summit to discuss just stories on ethical stewardship for the love of poor.
And that would
I'm sure you will see
a better solution.
For a better solution
Chapter
to
6.
ensure that we are stewards. Because
Fred, the other solution to this, Prof,
because I want to finish
there should be elections and wipe out all these guys
and
bring new elements to the
Let us just make good use of the laws that we have and the institutions that we have. Even if we bring other people and we're not following the law, we'll
have the same problem. So who will blink first between the governors and the senators? The senators, the governors have insisted they've suspended appearing before the parliamentary committees of the Senate to face audit queries. The senators are saying, try it and see. All right. Who will blink first?
Who has more money?
Well,
of course, those ones who are still obeying.
Gentlemen, let's talk politics now. Let's talk politics, party politics in particular. A lot has happened over the past 1.5 weeks or so. I don't know, you may have had an opportunity on this panel to talk about it, I think, Fomba, but a lot more has happened. One with Azimio, and secondly with ODM. Interestingly, ODM is on the front pages today. The Star newspaper, I think I have a copy of the Star newspaper. Oburu team plans to kick out Sifuna in Mombasa meet. So that's one discussion at the NEC meeting in Mombasa. The other one is how they relate with Azimio. And that's a big discussion as well. So, well, the president just took this debate a notch higher, talking about what Azimio is, with or without ODM. And we do have that clip. Let's listen to what the President William Ruto said about Azimio and what the DCP party leader also said about Azimio.
Sasa nimesikia ati wanataka kuanzisha Azimio. Ile Azimio tulinyorosha asubuhi na mapema. Sasa niwaulize, Azimio bila ODM ni kuzimia? Azimio bila ODM si kuzimia?
He is lost. The ODM of Raila Odinga is not the ODM of today. What William Ruto is holding is a shell of ODM, the fake one, of Junet Mohammed, Gladys Wanga, and Oburu Odinga. The ODM B, the one with the people, is gone. I want to challenge William Ruto, if he's a man enough to abuse President Kenyatta himself. Stop sending some leaders to abuse President Kenyatta on your behalf. Do it yourself if you are man enough. Abuse him. I will not allow President Uhuru Kenyatta to be intimidated. I have a responsibility as a leader from the region to defend our son, our kinsman. President Uhuru Kenyatta must be allowed to retire in dignity. He must be allowed to enjoy his constitutional freedom to do whatever he wants. If he wants to work with us, why not?
So Uhuru Kenyatta comes back and says he's trying to revive Azimio. And everyone starts running helter-skelter. He tries to effect a change in leadership in the Azimio party, and people are all of a sudden not so happy with him. This is the same Azimio that many people dismissed, that it was dead, that it did not matter anymore, that after losing the election, it was inconsequential. After all, no coalition that has lost an election in Kenya has become existential or rather very consequential after a while. So as you think about that, let's take a short break and we'll be back to talk about the politics of parties. You're watching Morning Cafe.
Coming to you in 3, 2.
Looking back, I was a serious workaholic. I'd be working all the time. Come in very early, leave probably the following day. Working so hard within the TV industry, I wanted that to be the place where I could prove myself. I literally nearly killed myself working.
Workaholism is a compulsion to work excessively hard and long hours.
I'm Dumi, I'm 20, and I almost wrecked my life trying to work until I just couldn't anymore.
Workaholism is not yet recognized as a medical condition, but psychologists say the symptoms are much like those of someone addicted to gambling or substances.
In high school, I didn't fit into all the cool groups. I finally went into modeling, going to commercials, and I saw a director on set. As soon as I saw him, I was just like, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. That was where all the top people were. When I started my internship, I knew that this is an opportunity that I can't let go of. I got to meet presenters, celebrities, and you meet designers, you meet all these cool people, and that was what made me want to work harder.
Workaholics often need to increase their workloads to keep getting the same sense of satisfaction from work. This rise in tolerance is a common sign of addiction.
I never managed to disconnect. I'm not trying to prove myself to other people only. I'm also trying to prove something to myself and to show the people I grew up with that I'm someone worth noting. I'm someone worth respecting as well. And another reason is because I'm the firstborn, first of 6 children. So I wanted to be the one to make sure that I'm out of their pockets and I can carve my own way by myself.
Workaholism isn't necessarily about the number of
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV 47 with me, Freddy Ndimuli. Now we want to delve into the party politics. And I think the biggest discussion is around Azimio. We've had the president talk about it. If it was not that important, even the president would not even bother mentioning about it. The DCP party leader also sees it fit to enter into the fray and talk about Azimio. None of them were members of the Azimio coalition. Let's note that. But it is ODM's behavior that is perhaps the most interesting. That ODM, after joining the broad-based government, even immediately after the elections, they dismissed Azimio as a non-entity. It was dead either way after losing the election. But right now, they are stuck and they don't want to be seen to have left Azimio. What exactly is happening, Wakili?
You know, Fred, first and foremost, no, this is politics, basically. This is just politics. And for the ODM party, this is not the first time it is disintegrating. It is not the first time it is splitting. You remember in 2007, when Kalonzo Musyoka went away with what is called ODM Kenya. Then, and by the way, he went with the original certificate of ODM. Then this other team remained with ODM. So today there is a talk of Sifuna is going with one orange, and I think another person is going with what? With one piece rather of the cut orange. It is not the first time, Fred. It is not a big mystery. My dismay is the manner in which people who claim to follow Raila Odinga are not actually pursuing his philosophy. They are pursuing their selfish tumbocrat approach to just win power. When you hear Mbadi saying Sifuna should be kicked out, and you know, Raila was always so tolerant that you could be what you wanted to be around him. Until I saw some Somalia guy saying he's a Luo or something like that, and he said he's Raila's son. He allowed it that way. That is Raila. And then he took advantage of time and memory and experience. He let things flow. But today, you cannot speak against Oburu Odinga, and there's already a plan that we must kick this guy out. That is not ODM. That is not ODM that we knew. Therefore, today, when you hear politicians saying, oh, Azimio is dead, those are narratives. That is make-believe language. I can assure you today, William Ruto is concerned and very worried about any strong grouping, whether they are 10 or 5 people grouping themselves somewhere to oppose his politics. Why? Because that is how politics works. You want to see that everybody is believing in your philosophy, and you want to make believe, you want to show the people around yourself and those around others that it is my line or no other line. So that's why you see people are concerned about when the former president just comes up and says, I think Azimio or ODM, this and that, and not necessarily opposing government projects, yes, but talking politics, which is within his constitutional right.
Yes. About ODM, and the interesting thing is, no one within Azimio said ODM is out of Azimio. In fact, the person named to take over after Junet Mohammed as Secretary General is an ODM member, Karoli Omondi. So why is ODM so concerned about this? One, is it possible for coalition, for a party to be in 2 different coalitions at the same time? ODM party is already trying to enter into a coalition with UDA. Why are they insisting on still being members of the Azimio?
In Kenya, political alliances are usually very fluid. Just to pick up from where Wakili left, remember that even after 2007, going towards 2013, there were other divisions again that reorganized the political environment of that time. So as we move towards 2027, the tectonic plates of politics are moving, and people are focusing on their political survival and interests. And for that reason, you don't necessarily define people on the basis of the political parties or affiliations they were in 2022 to predict 2027. People will be making different realignments towards 2027 for their own political interests. So for ODM, all these arguments and counter-arguments are based on the fact that people have different political interests and people want to survive politically. It is not homogeneous that people will move to the elections in one direction, whether on the side of Kenya Kwanza or on the side of what was Azimio. For example, some of us were in Azimio at that time, and we are also looking at the political environment to decide on how we are going to align ourselves towards 2027. So it's not something unique. It is something that has always been there, and as not being such a strict democracy like the US. You know, the US, if you're a Democrat...
Do you foresee Azimio being a factor in 2027? Had you even thought that there would be something like this?
As things stand today, I think there'll be new alliances that will emerge. Right now, these are just political chessboards. People are playing around to show how much of influence they still wield. For example, former President Uhuru Kenyatta still wants to wield some influence to be a factor in the decision that happens in 2027. Something that I do not really agree with, in as much as we are a democracy and we allow people to participate in politics because of our democratic rights that we have in our constitution, like political rights in Article 38. President Uhuru Kenyatta had that privilege of serving this country for 10 years. He had an opportunity that not many people will manage to get in their lifetime. So he should allow other people to lead. He should not be part of the antagonistic forces of the government the way it is working. He's in retirement, and he has a good package of retirement.
As a patron of a political party, what has he done wrong? He has not opposed anyone.
There's nothing he has done wrong, but he should not get involved in the processes that antagonize the stability of the country. He should be focused.
How has his actions within Azimio
he should be
antagonized?
He should be thankful to the country that he had an opportunity to lead this country for that long time. And I'm seeing some other fellows. I do not think if you'll be paying attention to some people who have been impeached. We give a lot of credibility to people who have lost authority in terms of leadership. They should not be
and
the ones addressing.
Uses every opportunity.
I wish we just
addressing us.
I wish we just call him Gachagua.
They should not be telling us. Gachagua should not be addressing us to tell us on how the government should run or not. He's someone who was impeached on the basis of violating Article 10 of the Constitution.
Right, Fwamba.
Which is about principles and values of governance.
Professor Gola,
failed him as a leader.
Do you understand this discomfort about the apparent revival of Azimio?
Yeah, you know, Fred, there's something I want to speak about which is economic, because yesterday we were in the news trying to discuss about what's happening in the glass industry. I hope you'll give me like some few minutes at the end.
Probably at the end, but
let me focus on this one, Azimio. First of all, why do you think that the president is uncomfortable with Azimio? And I can tell you that there's the people who have resurrected Azimio, resurrected because it was dead, because they say it was dead, so there must be a resurrection. Mm-hmm. So those who have to know that Jesus also resurrected, so Azimio can say resurrect. So if it was dead, it can be resurrected. So it must have resurrected. Now, why are the president uncomfortable? The president is uncomfortable because these guys have done something very cynical. You know, ODM is a member of Azimio. And the people in Azimio are seeing that ODM want to enter in a coalition with UDA. Now they are giving the president a headache. That's why he's worked out. In fact, the president, when you see that he's talking with that anger, you see the voice talks like he's comfortable, but he's angry. And I say, I'm enjoying life. You can't enjoy life when you're that angry. The president is angry because for ODM to get into coalition with the UDA, it must exit Azimio officially. Like if you go to RPP website, there are only 2 coalitions registered. One is Azimio, the second one is Kenya Kwanza. So he is in Kenya Kwanza, and Azimio wants to have a coalition. So even him as UD has to now exit from Kenya Kwanza and a coalition with the ODM. And ODM to exit Azimio, it has to first of all do like 30 days or maybe 3 months notice, I think 30 days notice, then conduct an NDC. The NDC of ODM will be so chaotic. It looks like, Fred, you have been dating 4 girls and they don't know you're dating them, then you find yourself on the same bed. Can you imagine the chaos you can see there? It will be so chaotic that there will be no decision to be made whatsoever. Because remember, an NDC, normally there are some things that must be ratified. Who will be reading what to be ratified? If you tell Sifuna to write what needs to be ratified in the NDC, you give one to Babu Owino, you give another one to Oburu Odinga, you give another one to Ida, you give it to Winnie. They'll have different versions of things to be ratified, and there'll be no agreement whatsoever. That's why I'm telling you, just like a polygamist, in my culture, a polygamist never sleeps in one woman's house. A polygamist must have his house. The women come when they want and with appointment. But if your ODM has now become a polygamistic environment, isn't it? And there's no woman in ODM who has got the control, that's control. The second thing which is happening here is that maybe Azimio guys, like in Kalonzo, they were trying to register a coalition. DCP must be in a coalition with the DP, with PLP, Jubilee, among others, and Wiper. Now, another lawyer, for example, like my brother here, must have told them, instead of registering a new coalition, why don't you just put this coalition under Azimio and then rebrand it? Because the Azimio is Raila. If you look at Azimio, is that strong R, Raila Odinga. So they have to remove that strong R and maybe put K, I don't know. Mm-hmm. So how will you be able to...
Actually, R can remain.
Because they are using Raila's name to campaign.
So if they want to take Raila to the ballot, then they can keep the R. But I'm sure it is about just looking for how can you rebrand, because I'm sure that the Kenya, I'm the member of United Opposition, we have been trying to shop for the coalition name.
This is one of the routes now.
Yes, so there was a name coming called Ukombozi Alliance. Maybe I'm saying what I should not say. You've been hearing Kalonzo saying Komboa Kenya. You hear that? Komboa Kenya. So you can read Kalonzo.
We understand there's a retreat, a 2-day retreat for the United Opposition to come up with this possible change of.
Yeah, so it means.
Is that what they're talking about?
I think that I can't say that
Kombozi
because
Alliance.
I don't have the powers to say this, because I'm sure the people, but I can tell you, if they're taking Azimio, they'll rebrand it. Okay. And this is a rebranding exercise that plays for them two things: killing two birds with one stone. First, frustrating the UDA ODM coalition talks. On this other side, as these guys are frustrated for them actually rebranding, then now they'll not mention Azimio anymore, because you heard Ruto says, Azimio imezimia, sivyo? When the name changes ataita nini? Itakuwa Azimio tena. So that's why you see Gachagua has told him, you are confusing ODM when Raila was there, because Ruto is thinking that ODM will be strong as when Raila was the ODM leader. He doesn't know that the king has died, but maybe the crown is also dead.
Before we finish the show, because this meeting, NEC, may discuss the Azimio issue, but of key interest, and this is what the Stars captured, is the place of Edwin Sifuna in that party as Secretary General. Probably because there have been threats that he's going to be kicked out next week in 2 days' time, in a few hours' time. Finally, they're saying this meeting to be held in Mombasa today is what will kick out Edwin Sifuna. Do you think they will do it?
I think they should do it. I think they should kick out Sifuna because Sifuna is still very relevant politician in our country today. Party politics is a different issue. Even after they kick him, you know, other parties might still see him in a certain way, but Sifuna as an individual, by the way, will be voted in any other party he belongs to, even if he were to go independently. Why? Because he has stood with Kenyans all along. I mean, his philosophies, first of all, his philosophies, by the way, are Raila Odinga's philosophies. So anybody else coming from some quarter to say that he represents Raila Odinga, we all know, no, that's not true. So I don't think wherever Sifuna is sitting, well, he may be concerned about his political career as a person, but he should know that every single Kenyan of goodwill stands with him, and he has nothing to lose, he has nothing to worry. So if...
What would it mean for ODM to kick out Sifuna?
I have said here before, it's on record, that ODM is actually going down completely, and if they remove him from the ODM party, then we should look for the best coffin and put ODM inside. ODM is dead. It will be more dead without without Edwin.
What's your take on this? Do you think NEC should send Sifuna out?
Of course, as I said earlier, as we move towards 2027, people will be making decisions based on their interests. So people may part ways based on their interests and may also join hands based on their interests. Sifuna, from the culture I come from, is considered a courageous man, and that's a very good attribute for him. And in terms of oversight in the Senate, he has done a good job. And I also want to reveal that, you know, when this broad-based issue came about, those of us who are not in ODM thought that we'll also become part of it. So I applied for the position of the PS. And Sifuna was one of the people I was lobbying through. And out of the people I lobbied through, he was the only person who was honest to me. He told me that he had tried to push my CV, but Junet was totally in charge, and there was no space for that. So I thank him for that, because I consider him an honest person, in as much as I do not agree with his politics today, because I think he should find a formula of working together with President William Ruto, because he's a very promising and very progressive politician.
Do you see serious consequences, as he says, that if Sifuna gets out, then ODM is almost done?
I cannot say that that's the basis, because according to me, ODM as a formation, in terms of political authority, ended with the death of Right Honorable Raila Odinga. So this right now, these are just formations of survival.
Okay.
Yes.
So Fred, what I can say is that ODM did not even die with Raila Odinga's death. ODM died the moment I saw William Ruto holding a stick. Raila holding a stick and Museveni holding a stick in Uganda. That was the death. When Raila said, I am going to AU, ODM was dead. These other things were just now rituals, last minute rituals being done. I want to tell him that what I see in Sifuna is something we have not seen. Do you know that Sifuna is a possible running mate in the United Coalition? It's a possible running mate. So whatever Sifuna is doing is not doing for ODM. So if I was ODM, I would sour the relationship immediately, no matter what valuable it is. You should know this is not yours. You know, when you are dating a woman who loves somebody else, no matter how much you spend, no, seriously, no matter how you spend, you show, it's a gone story. My heart is not yours. There's a song which is called My Heart Is Not Yours. My heart is gone. My heart is elsewhere. Sifuna's heart is not in ODM. That's why he's damaging it, because if you're a Secretary General, you'll be very careful about how to ensure that even if you disagree, that your disagreement is for the good of ODM. I don't find disagreeing with ODM good for ODM. And if Oburudinga has not seen that, then maybe what a wise man, an old man sees sitting, a young man like me can even say when I'm lying on the ground, because I can see clearly there is no way you can have an SG who is antagonizing the party to the point of disintegrating it. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't care. The thing is that if ODM was wise enough, they should know what is the end game for Sifuna.
All right.
Sifuna, that's why you see the campaign in Busia.
Yes.
You see his movement in Western. He is trying to prove, that should someone invite him to the table as a running mate, he can perform.
Yes, we want to view some of the feedback online, because people have been commenting on a lot of things, including the question that we've been asking: is it fair? Is it fair for all the financial burden of Valentine's to be left to the man? Anyway, and what feedback do you have for us?
Or is it not? Let's hear what the people are saying with regard to ODM. Fidel Ndai, Sifuna and Babu Owino may be genuine about still having ODM at heart, but Osotsi and Amisi are not. Those two speak Gachagwa's language and are hell-bent on sinking the party. That's why that group can't be trusted. And I wonder what Orengo is doing with these traitors. That's Fidel Ndai. Vincent Marks, we will go with the voice that best fits us. Jonathan Yaile, ODM party died with its founder. That's another comment there. Kevin Nyangwachi, a divided voice is not opposition, it's noise. As we stand now, we take Sifuna at his word. Sifuna's voice is Baba Raila Amolo Odinga's voice. We have some more? All right. Caprice Lightbringer, no, everyone's using the power derived from the proximity they had to Baba to make a point and to try steer the ship. I foresee what happened to Ford happening to ODM. King Josh, ODM is done. The division is real. It has no one voice anymore. The icons like Babu and Sifuna sound to be the real deal. Their wave is unstoppable. Finally, Gibitui. Everyone has his sponsor. Wanga kina Sifuna, let the best bidder sell the party. Let the best bidder sell the party. That's Kitui, Fred.
Thank you so much, Annie. It's only a matter of hours if at all the NEC of ODM is meeting today to kick out Sifuna. We'll know by tomorrow and we'll be discussing that. Gentlemen, I have only a minute and a half, so only 30 seconds each.
The only thing I want to say, Fred, is let us encourage the young people to understand that if they spend their time around wisdom, they are wise. It does not matter their age. Edwin Sifuna has spent a huge amount of his time. In fact, he started politics at a very young age.
Okay.
But he has always endeared himself with the Wazee, with Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, and he has the wisdom. So let nobody say that he cannot see so far like an old man sitting. He has seen far already. And the party disintegration is not an issue. In fact, when we go to an election, party disintegration is okay. But Fred, you asked, is it fair? I mean, Professor has referred to girlfriends here and there, and we should bring that up. I don't know when you're bringing it up, so that we want to
After
know,
the break, we're talking about it.
Fair
Do you think it's fair?
I think it's not fair.
It's not fair.
I think people should be equal. If you're talking about equality,
both women and men
in family finance, in boyfriend, girlfriend, I mean, people should be fair, and they should co-share that bill equally.
Thank you.
My closing remarks will be a bit different about Article 187 of the Constitution of Kenya, whereby governments, county governments and national government can exchange or can share responsibilities. I saw the Nairobi City Council has handed over some dockets to the national government, and I think that's a welcome move, because I saw the president also complaining about the level of garbage in the city. So if the city has to work by handing some of the dockets or some of the responsibility to the national government, that's a good step. Okay. And we applaud the national government under President William Ruto for taking up that.
Is it fair?
It is fair.
No, is it fair? Forget about that one. Is it fair for the man to be...
He said it's fair.
Of course.
You said it's fair?
Of course, it says that we are the providers.
So for you, you agree it's fair?
We'll provide.
Okay,
we are the leaders.
Very briefly.
Mine is that let's not look at the small things. I'm a Jesuit educated. Well, let's go to the root cause of the problem. The general problem we have in Kenya is grossly incompetent people in power and grossly corrupt people. And I want to make the statement regarding what's happening in the glass industry, that we are allowing the countries outside the East Africa, within East African region, to be more competitive than us in the production of glass, which is important in the house construction, is important in the creation of jobs, because how can this, that some years ago, Kenya used to export glass to East African countries, but now we're importing glass from one company called Keda Ceramics from Tanzania. Okay. So when you say two-term, most of the PSS here, CSS here, and some people in government, they are building watches using Kenyan money for campaign instead of focusing on governance. Even too many trees the president is making should remain back home so that we can actually be able to work. The president should sit in office, give executive orders. Nyota Fund can be disbursed even if he's not anywhere in the country. Let us not spend so much money on planes, on choppers and the rest. And to end the issue of fair or not, as a Luo man, we don't spend on women. We treat them.
You treat them.
That
is not even
a question.
But do you say?
We treat them. We feel nice when a woman feels nice next to you. When you hold a beautiful woman next to you and she's feeling great, what is wrong with that?
I know Dida will be...
It serves my ego. It serves my ego, yes.
Thank you so much, Professor Fred Ogola, economics and governance expert, political analyst Fwamba Nsifwamba, and Wakili Ishmael Nyaribo, our panelists this morning. On the stand, Oburu team plans to kick out Sifuna in Mombasa meet. That's happening today. We should be knowing by end of day. And Holy Alliance, COG versus Senate. And of course, the issue around the drought crisis, where President Ruto is going today to launch the Nyota Fund in Garissa ahead of his 2-day visit to that region. Those are the headlines this morning. That's the state of the nation, ladies and gentlemen. After the break, is it fair? Is it fair for the financial burden of Valentine's Day?
Don't ask
be left
again.
to the man.
Professor Ogola.
Don't ask again.